Hello everyone, welcome to Tech Sharmit. In this session, we are going to discuss about another few medical terminology prefixes, but this time we will discuss only those prefixes that denote physical property or shape. Okay, it could denote physical properties of something, it could denotes the shape of something. So those prefixes we are going to discuss mainly in this session. So before we start this session, let me tell you one basic thing like why we use prefix. So prefix is something that attaches in the beginning of any root word and that denotes something as we discuss. It denotes physical properties, shapes, or any other information as well, right? In previous session also we covered few prefixes that denoted directions and everything, right? Okay, so how we are going to proceed with this session? First of all, I'll tell you about the few prefixes with their actual meaning, and to explain it in more better way, I'll show you some examples so that you can easily identify, okay, so this is the way through which we can identify the prefixes with medical terminologies. Okay, so let's start with the first prefix. So the first prefix is cyro. Now what is cyro? Just assume a scenario where you want to showcase something as cold or something related to cold, I would say. Okay. So when you want to showcase something as related to cold, then in that case you will utilize the prefix cyro. This is clear, yeah, because we know that this is the prefix cyro and it denotes something as cold. But how we will identify it with the medical terminology? Because this is the main task. As being a medical coder, medical biller, or any other field in medical science, you should know about the actual meaning as well as in the terminology, right? So just to explain that, here I have noted down couple of examples that we will go through one by one so that it will give a clear picture of the actual use of this prefix. Okay, so let's focus on the first example. The first example is cyropreservation. Cyropreservation. Now, what is cyropreservation? The preservation of cells, tissues, organs at very low temperature to maintain viability. Okay, so if we talk about the medical laboratories, then you might see some cold storage areas, right? There what they do, like they preserve some cells, tissues, organs, right? Some authentic laboratory, I'm talking about authentic laboratories. So there they used to preserve all the cells, tissues, organs at very low temperature to maintain the viability of tissue, organ, or cells. So in that in that this situation, the type of preservation is called as uh, preservation. Why? Because we are maintaining a low temperature. So this is something related to coldness, right? We are preserving it in a cold environment. So to showcase that cold, to produce the sound of cold, we are using the terminology preservation, where the prefix is cyro, a preservation is the root word, and the complete terminology is preservation. Fine. Then next example is cyrostat. Now what is cyrostat? A device used for maintaining very low temperatures, often for specimen preparation in laboratories. So when you want to study, or let's say for any specific reason, you are going to maintain a very low temperature. Okay. So in that case, you will use the device cyrostat, where cyrostat is used to showcase the meaning of prefix cold, and this device is used for maintaining the very low temperature, often for specimen preparation in laboratories. Same thing in case of laboratories, we used to do, we they use the cyrostat devices to maintain a very low temperature. So again, here is also a sound of very low temperature, which is somewhere related to coldness. So for that reason, we are again using the prefix cyro, and stat is a device, so cyrostat. Okay, got it. Then we have cyrosurgery. Now, what is cyrosurgery? A surgery technique that uses extreme cold. Yeah, there are some surgery techniques that uses extreme cold to destroy the abnormal or diseased tissue. So there are some diseased tissue, or you can say abnormal tissues, which we can destroy only at extreme cold temperature. So to operate such type of surgery, we will use the terminology cyrosurgery. Specifically, this is a surgery where the cold Extreme cold is used to destroy the abnormal or diseased tissue. So that's why we are again using the prefix cyro, because it is something related to coldness and surgery. So cyrosurgery. Fine. Then we have cyroglobulin. Now what is cyroglobulin? Cyroglobulin is something, a protein that precipitates from the blood at low temperature. So when a protein precipitates from the from the blood at low temperature, then this type of thing we can denote with the help of cyroglobulin, where cyro is a prefix to showcase something as cold. Got it? Fine. So this is all regarding the cyro prefix that used to showcase something as cold. Now we will move to the another prefix. Another prefix is elect. Now what is elect? Elect is a prefix that is used to showcase something as electrical activity. Okay, so there are various prefixes. From that I have picked up couple of prefixes which I will use to show you as a demo in order to explain the meaning of elect in the terminology. So you can see the first example is electrophysiology. Now what is electrophysiology? Electrophysiology is the study of electrical properties of biological cells and tissues. So whenever we want to study something related to biological cells and tissues, then we are supposed to study about the electrical properties, and then that type of study is known as study electrophysiology. Got it? Fine. Then we have electroretinogram, ERG. I guess some of you know about this term, because this is a most commonly used terms if we talk about the eye specialist, because they ask to do such type of test, and that test is used to measure the electrical responses of various cell type present in retina. So this type of terminology is used to measure the this type of terminology is used to showcase the test which uses electrical responses of various cell types in the retina to measure it, right? So prefix is retinogram, ERG report. Okay, and the prefix we are using here is elect. Fine. Then we have electrocautery. Electrocautery means the use of electrical current to cut or coagulate tissue during surgery. So when we want to cut down or coagulate the tissues during the surgery, then in that case sometimes doctors use electrical currents. So to use this thing, we will like to represent this thing, we will denote it with the help of one terminology, which is electrocautery, and which is composed with a prefix elect. Okay, so yeah, this is the one example. Now next example we have is electrotherapy. Now what is electrotherapy? The use of electrical energy for the therapeutic purposes. So in this situation we will call it as a electrotherapy. So again we are using the electrical energy. So you can see in each of these examples something is common, which is electrical properties or activities. So that's why we are using the prefix elect. Got it? Fine. Now we will move to the next prefix, which is there are a couple of same kind of you can say prefix that is used to showcase something as movement. For example, kine, or kinesio. So these all things are used to showcase something as movement. Let's see the examples. First one is kinesiology. Now what is kinesiology? The scientific study of human or non-human body movement. So when we want to study about the human movement or non-human body movement, then we will go through the scientific study which is known as kinesiology. Okay. Then we have kinesthesia. What is kinesthesia? The perception of position and movement of body part. Again, this is something related to movement, so that's why we are using the prefix kinesthesia. Got it. Now we have kinocilium. Now what is kinocilium? This is a sensory cilium, or you can say hair cell involved in the detecting motion in certain sensory organs. Okay, so when we want to detect the motion in sensory organ, then we use a sensory cilium or hair cell to detect the motion, and this, to represent this thing, we will use the terminology which is kinocilium, which is composed of the prefix kino. Fine. Likewise, we have another example which is kinetocardiogram. Kinetocardiogram. Now, what is kinetocardiogram? It is a record of the movement of heart. So when you want to measure the heart movement of heart, then in that case we will utilize the terminology kinetocardiogram. Got it? So yeah, this is all. These are the all prefixes that is related to medical terminology. I hope it is clear to all of you. And for today, we have one question like what information is provided by the prefix sin and sim. This thing we have already covered in one of our previous sessions. So if you know the answer, I recommend you to put the uh, answer in the comment section. And if you have any kind of issues in this, then you can check out the previous session because this thing we have already covered. So yeah, that's all for today. In the next session, we will discuss few more things. So thank you for watching Tech Sharmit.